my Ghana court kese power Supreme Court edi mfinsia wo ha eni adunum enu nti obeye anniversary lecture ye court so kama pa o menhia himfi bia ye Otumfuo Osei Tutu II amam so Jubilee Hall ye wo kotokofi na ebusua eye Ghana court mpanyimfo atemwafo mpanyimfo ya Chief Justice panyimpa ye hwe atemu efa no oda no na wo bi afina no mahemfo enyina no so wo honom aloyafo wo ye man Ghana do na mpanyimfo ye no nyina wo honom bia so obi abeka ho bi ema bibia ya asumtwe na no mo Chief Justice ene mpanyimfo aloyafo na je difo mpanyimfo tre Supreme Court mfisia wo ha na aduonu mu adie boa waboa ma bibia ya asumtwe ena nanom so tre nanom ko dia o makon e dia boa nti ubeka ya National House of Chiefs President oji a wo ya ojibi yo no na say sehwi anwa so ma he no no so e wo mansia kotokofie bi na busia e ba dwumadie ne koso no a e do say yewura to do bibie kuntum kantan bo ho kro bia Asante kotokofie e na no asem e betudwa na busia o ne kan asem kakra na o he na asem waka no abepie asem wa de bia ye kan so say Regional House of Chiefs ni bibie wo ha wo mo e mo mani atra o mani nto na say o mo didi aburu ba bia emra no enye say bia emra no mo kwan so o mo ndi kotu yewura kasa kakra at the Regional House of Chiefs said the Ghana brand as enshrined in the Chieftaincy Act as enshrined in the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. Regional House of Chiefs omudwumadi ya omudi ya bibi wo ha omuni tumi se wo so omudi no ningina ohene e kasa de fa ho said the sene fata na onim me pese me prem wa kasa yenko ti yewura kro bia Asante kotoko na se wo ditu bia kakra e de fa yen Chieftaincy Act na ho afei Regional House of Chiefs dwumadi a wo so omudi na binum di ba bi ko ase obdi e de bro se dwumadi so dwumadi bia otimi ye wa brabra ne mo kwan so omunya yenko ti kakra bi ma ye ba ye beton se ne ye di nkomo na bibia ya asofie no se asem ho ne kan no saa ne tie pepe na yade ye koso enti Chief Justice ni yewura kasa dia Chief Justice ya omo aka omo na ye custodians of the law no omo hwese mra ne be ye adwuma na bibia ayasofie odi kan tati open radio the official mouthpiece of Asanteman and yenya isaka video yenko ti yewura na asem kakra bi ma ye ba dia ka bi beto bo ase busua na yete asom
to the extent said or that and ni papa pictures nyina free asori dem ho wa wa ko Christo asafo dan so enim se Christo asafo for e de year
Kwasio kwasantina de kasangen
Wasaji fogu nyegwasio kwasantina de kasangen
Kwatokwa hini kase kwabia hini kasangen
Kwatokwa hini kase kwabia hini kasangen
Mema kwabia irifia ngumani kotokungen
Mema kwabia irifia ngumani kotokungen
Asante chantro chmo champon fungen
Asante chantro chmo champon fungen
Asante sesiebo sumedite
Asante sesiebo sumedite
Kwabia santina de kasangen
Kwabia santina de kasangen
Sechiche mimodi nyewisio
Sechiche mimodi nyewisio
Wai nebenya sejuso supayini ni akraba kuma sika po banoa
Wai nebenya sejuso supayini ni akraba kuma sika po banoa
Binya sebia nkobe
Binya sebia nkobe
Mena tedi fe badam le fe kasangen
Menu atedi fe badam le fe kasangen
Chewani ntofu moje nungen
Chewani ntofu moje nungen
Antofu dadi chmo champon nungen
Antofu dadi chmo champon nungen
Oso ni krobyo sumendite
Oso ni krobyo sumendite
Jakwe jale na adi ase dingen
Jakwe jale na adi ase dingen
Akusibio kumblo chmo champon nungen
Akusibio kumblo chmo champon nungen
Jakwe office frampo demri ferisi
Jakwe office frampo demri ferisi
Setutu memodi nyewisio
Setutu memodi nyewisio
Una na musuma nkabom empuntu ne nkoso ba wasantimam ne Ghana mayina
Una na musuma empuntu ne nkoso ba Ghana ni Asantemamu
Obinya sabia nkobe
Obinya sabia nkobe
Lagwa bakaina ne frampo demri ferisi
Lagwa bakaina ne frampo demri ferisi
Ema dabido na kwa yedungen
Mema Imam Jabindwa da kwa yadunyen.
Ya donna ne dia ko bojo jota touchmo champon ifungen.
Ya donna ne dia ko bojo ta touchmo champon ifungen.
O to sika sama na jija kungen.
O to sika sama na jija kungen.
Jakwe bo ban ko nyom frawa.
Jakwe bo ban ko jom fro.
Ina fre from po damni fa o.
Ina fre from po damni fa o.
Wa saji fogu nyagwa singen.
Wa saji fogu nyagwa singen.
Present na je kasangen.
Wo present na je kasangen.
Wo kure to belo be fagu nyagwa sa jumna chemera.
His Lordship the Chief Justice is requesting the use of this hall, and therefore they came to seek clearance from me. I said, who am I? I don't want to be charged for contempt. So please allow them to use the hall. Because that's where I was trained, so I always refer to him as my chief. He's the president and chairman of today's event. Your Lordship, Justice Bafuboni, Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana. Nananum, Nananmahima, venerable members of the bar and bench, Excellencies, cherished citizens of our dear country, Ghana, ladies and gentlemen. I'm deeply honored to be here with other revered traditional rulers in the midst of this distinguished gathering, a special guest of honor to reflect with you on a subject that lies at the very heart of our nationhood, the relationship between the Supreme Court of Ghana and, by extension, the judiciary of the Republic of Ghana on the one hand and the institution of chieftaincy on the other. On my part, my Lord, and I believe I speak for all of us, the theme for the anniversary, honoring the past, celebrating the present and defining the future, is eminently apt. Equally, the topic of today's lecture, the Supreme Court and the institution of chieftaincy, is particularly apposite. It is fitting that we gather under this felicitous theme, the English common law and its hierarchy, of course, with the Supreme Court eventually becoming the apex. For much of our colonial history, these two streams often run uneasily alongside one another. Chieftaincy was at various turns courted and co-opted through indirect rule. Yet it also had its judicial functions curtailed and its authority made to answer to a foreign sovereign and foreign law. Independence in 1957 did not resolve this tension so much as inherited. Successive constitutions grappled, sometimes uncertainly, with where chieftaincy properly belonged within a modern constitutional order. It is a matter of record that chieftaincy has, at different moments in our post-independent history, been sidelined by political actors who saw it as a rival center of authority. For instance, laws were enacted to de-recognize persons who, under customary law and usage, had been installed as chiefs. In the same vein, enactments were made to recognize persons as chiefs when they were not, by customary law and usage, qualified as such. Yet, chieftaincy has endured precisely because it commands legitimacy that no statute alone can confer. The 1992 Constitution marks the decisive turning point in this long history. Article 270 guarantees the institution of chieftaincy together with the traditional councils as established by customary law and usage, and expressly forecloses Parliament from legislating in a manner that detracts from or derogates from the honor of dignity of the institution. My Lord Chief Justice, this must serve as a notice to all persons, especially those of the bench and bar, that the Nananum are intimately familiar with the laws that concern the institution of chieftaincy. The institution of chieftaincy is therefore not merely tolerated by our modern constitutional order, it is entrenched within it and recognized as a co-equal pillar of our governance architecture. Yet, recognition alone does not resolve every question. It has fallen to the traditional councils, judicial committees of the Houses of Chiefs, and ultimately to the Supreme Court to give that recognition practical content. It's its own institutional humility, deferring to those who lived and inherited knowledge of the custom in question, while standing ready to intervene where fundamental rights are genuinely at stake. We must be candid, though, about the strains in this relationship. Delays in resolving chieftaincy disputes, some spanning generations, have at times undermined public confidence and left communities without settled leadership for unconscionably long periods. Overlapping and occasionally uncertain jurisdictional lines between regular courts and the judicial committees continue to generate satellite litigation. These are not indictments of other institutions. They are the honest growing pains of two systems of authority still learning fully to speak one constitutional language. But I'm sure my Lord Chief Justice would agree with me that from Asanteman we are not overburdening you with chieftaincy issues at the Supreme Court because we're able to resolve them here amicably and everything is fine. So your workload from Asanteman, let us do it, and then the others were confused and settle it with the And yet, ladies and gentlemen, today is rightly a day of celebration. We celebrate an institution of chieftaincy that has proven resilient, adaptive, and indispensable. The custodian of land and culture, the first responder in community development, and the moral voice invoked in seasons of national crisis. We celebrate a Supreme Court that has, notwithstanding the burdens of a young democracy, built a body of chieftaincy jurisprudence of genuine intellectual depth, one increasingly studied beyond our shores as a model of how modern constitutionalism may accommodate customary governance without extinguishing it. We celebrate above all the fact that these two institutions, the palace and the courtroom, have chosen dialogue over confrontation. The choice was never inevitable. It is the product of successive generations of chiefs, jurists, and politicians who understood that the strength of our republic lies not in the triumph of one system of authority over the other, but in their principled coexistence. If we are honest in honoring the past and clear-eyed in celebrating the present, we must equally deliberate in defining the future. Permit me to offer several reflections on the road ahead. The first is that the machinery of chieftaincy adjudication requires urgent modernization. The judicial committees of the Houses of Chiefs must be resolved, trained, and where necessary reformed so that chieftain disputes are resolved with the speed and finality that both litigants and communities deserve. Justice delayed in matters of stool and skin is not merely justice denied to individual claimants, it is stability denied to entire communities. Second, greater doctrinal clarity is needed on the precise boundaries between the exclusive jurisdiction of the judicial committees and the jurisdiction of the regular courts, particularly the superior court supervisory and appellate roles. Continued dialogue between the bench bar and the House of Chiefs of the kind this very occasion exemplifies is essential to that clarity. And three, in Ghana, the final stages of process involved in the making of a chief is the process of registration of the name of the said chief in the National Register of Chiefs. The roles the various House of Chiefs play in this registration process deserves much consideration, as the role these various houses, particularly the regional houses of chiefs, play in the registration process has sparked so much agitations and sometimes controversies. The provision of the law, as contained in the Chieftaincy Act, is that with the National House of Chiefs being the body charged with the responsibility of keeping the National Register of Chiefs in which particulars relating to a chief are recorded, whenever a change occurs in the membership of the Traditional Council or there's an occurrence of an installation, abdicating, or death of a chief, the Traditional Council of the area in question is duty-bound to report same to the Regional Houses of Chiefs, and the Regional Houses of Chiefs is in turn under a mandatory duty to report same to the National House of Chiefs for the necessary changes and recordings in the National Register of Chiefs. It must be stated for emphasis and for the avoidance of doubt that upon receipt of the CD form from the Regional House of Chiefs, it has a mandatory duty under the law to transmit the forms to the National House of Chiefs. The courts have stated time and again that the duty of the Regional House is to transfer the CD forms to the National House upon receipt of same and confirmation of its accuracy. It is a mandatory statutory obligation which cannot be flouted by the Regional House of Chiefs. The courts have also maintained relative to the duty of the Regional House in transmitting CD forms to the National House of Chiefs that no discretion arises unless there is a demonstrable legal impediment which the authorities have held to be death, abdication, and disposition. Consequently, the inevitable conclusion to be drawn from the above is that when it comes to the registration process, the CD forms pass through the Regional House of Chiefs, which acts as a conveyor belt or a conduit for transmission of the said forms to the National House for registration and nothing more. The fourth one, another issue of profound importance relates to land ownership within Asanteman. Questions concerning the nature of allodial title, stew lands, and customary interest continue to generate significant agitations, uncertainty, and sometimes litigation. And I had the occasion to comment when I was at KNUST, where those lands have been bequeathed to the university, demarcated by my predecessor, who then was a surveyor before he became the Asantehene. And that was a barter trade between us and Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah to establish that school for us. Some people have the irk and impudence from family heads or something to go and take it to court to ask for 1,000 and something acres of that school land. And with all due respect, my learned friends, some people also followed that. I believe that is wrong. First and foremost, it is imperative to state for emphasis that in Asanteman, allodial ownership of land vests in the stews who hold same in trust for the golden stew. There are no family allodial lands in Asante. Therefore, families and individuals cannot hold leasehold, can only hold leasehold or usufructory interest in lands in Ashanti, but never allodial interest in or title. Thus, if a person, a group of persons or family claims usufructory interest in land in Ashanti, same should be traceable to a stool, and that person, group of persons or family should be able to show at least a distinctive customary function that they play or perform as a person, group of persons or family to the stool, for them to continue to exercise their usufructory right over the land, but not allodial interest or title. And thus the Ashanti Confederacy in 1938 decided that all lands in Ashanti are vested in the stools in trust for the golden stool. This is our customary law, which is guaranteed by the Constitution. And please refer to warranty notes and you can find it there. Nana Ojiahoho, Nana Chairman, the Supreme Court in conclusion, and more broadly the judiciary and the institution of chieftaincy are in the truest sense joint custodians of our constitutional order, one speaking in the idiom of statute and precedent, and the other in the idiom of customs and lineage, yet both ultimately in service of the same Ghanaian people. The past has tested this relationship, the present affirms it, and the future, if we are deliberate in building it as our ancestors and founders were in laying its foundation, promises an even more mature and productive partnership within the palace and the courtroom. I thank my Lord the Chief Justice for the honor done me in staging this celebration here in Kumasi, which I felt I didn't want any contempt, and so please come. I salute Nananom present with us today. I salute my lords of the bench and my dear brothers and sisters, the learned friends of the bar. I have the honor, and my wife too also, but when we are in the room, I speak law. I think in practice, Nananom also qualified to be referred to as learned as well. So, Mr. President of the bar, maybe, Madam President, maybe you will think about it. But I will caution not for them to use it for any wrongdoing. And I wish this occasion and the enduring institutions that celebrates long life and continued distinction. Long live the institution of chieftaincy. Long live the Supreme Court of Ghana. Long live our republic. Thank you and God bless us all.
Mr. Mika, any akuti at the Abana. Now, sending now, we say, oh, so by a chieftaincy act, a national house of chiefs, and then for your regional house of chiefs, a man tambia, a bind a dim team. A house of chiefs, a bind a dim team, or man tambia, to come man tambia one, your original house of chiefs. Nine year Rachel said, regional house of chiefs said, Rana Eka. Now, for a mamma, any amanistiano. Or would you ready on would you say, or would you or Henry Crata, Mister, or mine be a walk, or mine, yeah, was sign as our friend. Or would you ready on the only Cratano? And the free regional house of chiefs or Abba national house of chiefs will come. And no one would you ready. Regional house of chiefs, any to Miss Obeka Sabia, will be chieftaincy declaration forms our dear banner on him to there be. Then, regional house of chiefs, the only way I say, almost serve as a medium, and as a conduit, said you were Kayana. Yeah, I'm just say, almost the bar, or a messenger, or so, when crater, when you been crater free the traditional area bar, or budget on the Abba national, or any catch you say. Ezebia na yema bi oha ene sequence regional of chiefs beka so we akata yem fama e bi ene deaf say bia ohen record na nkata eba no e bia ba mo wo waye nyame dia ene sa dia se na de ba kwa mo because on the bar national beje team ohen di won nkata mo national register of chiefs but e bia this a deaf afei abdication of stools say bia ohen record tie akonya so no ono ase afei minti akonya so bia ono agye akonya to ono de Ohenes were jail kunyana to one year and crack called the original house of chiefs of Famara National. Regional house of chiefs no to me will be only go say we jail kunyana to one. I mean, yeah, not the a bit my way. And about quick can be. And so a year after death, any abdication a disposition. Say be a be a tuna free kunyaso, or he may be a tuna free kunyaso. And also and no dear, I am now the regional house of chiefs no quite say, oh, when you guys see a tuna free kunyaso, I'm in Kratabe. But it's a yes, I had your mommy and say your money she canoa. Regional house of chiefs be any to me say, yeah, they were only being cracked for the traditional area Abba. Regional house of chiefs, and 1 year found national because say the Americano or here no ain't to me for one character in the traditional area in smooth pampa and man national there be. It was a far regional house of chiefs. So to the Abba say be a 1 year no found national or a regional house of chiefs cross a year. And they are oh just say on to me more reason be anti 1 year. But no, I and a typical scenario a sample there course. Because in that count with no any cancer because Sampa the course and then maybe a drink crab bars and your man so say and rather the tintim of what that regional of chiefs on way statutory body yeah buying and a dim right tintim out to one yeah then said the man show and there was away now we have Sampa there for instance on my Nana Jafla eswai eya training crew 2023 obeswa ya chira December 2023 so training crew 30th November 2023 after somewhere December middle of December 2023 na obeswa ya chira bibia dim obeswa wiye no sabre ohina no wo hwe achi wo Sampa acting president ya wo ye kokko ahina na kodwumasa ono na CD forms no odin sa sha say me na me acting president na say sia the American ya the regional house of chiefs of the Bono region, that's the Bono regional house of chiefs say sia no Sampa yenya man here for enti me am ye acting president na hwe achi e traditional council ko pim so man for ba enti me na me hwe achi say acting president ko pim so man for ba say abri de be catch on na no regional house of chiefs say o man for ba this is ya no me no be the message say money o man ni krata na mo fa ko national the tintim won krata mu nedim say enya man here for e be do regional house of chiefs almost there be o mu yintum after kra the regional house of chiefs say omo vete na Sampa Jafla ene Sampa traditional council CD forms chieftaincy declaration forms na or man yantum but does the regional house of chiefs possess that power say omeka say krata CD forms chieftaincy declaration forms every traditional area bi or region mu aba ombetimi ada bi omo ni sa tumi no so omo na be vete mo de an say ba ena ohene se bi yewura aka no sa na man so te pepe mo de an say krata ne ba mo beje na ma forward the aba national as to say baby be touch ma on baby touch ma on and the national house of chiefs adwuma the national house of chiefs ba on behwem ti ube kaya bin kan fan tutu asobo a brother no regional house of chiefs pe kwan bi so the gazette come up papa bi ya mo just wo yen sha na wa news e won sha na wo ba afọ abekwa abo ya to so mi no yen sha na o kan so man kwa afriko e be do national house of chiefs there bi ye hwe nka tare mu ni ade a ye gitu mu enye e sanse yenim se enchira enchira anye man hene because a better regional house of chiefs square band the only cat and say enchira wa ye enchira man hene the regional house of chiefs the Bono region so wa ye enchira man hene e dey ba national say there bi ye nyintum e sanse enchira anye man hene ye enchira kwa na normal ways of objection say Asantehene and dia but papa ya ordinary character be say ohena kasa wo no mo so Asantehene e na mo amasa akọ papa bi na ba say o na ye enchira hene iti na obeka ya everyone dey ye na no and say papa no character aba the national house of chiefs o mo ya na man hene say o enchira man hene national house of chiefs anyantum because the Bono regional house of chiefs need that power no and yet Bono regional house of chiefs nkwa but the year example because when a Sampa in charge he wants in America sir mother when you say be amanisa na no but regional house of chiefs be any have to I know the national house of chiefs adwuma so to be kaya ebra na Sampa na Jafla acting president na kodwumasa e dey na Jafla ne anoma tenakunya na nkrata call the Bono regional house of chiefs no one person mo dey ba e be to ya so one fair trade ya osa modua enkrata aba national house of chiefs say national house of chiefs and gazette but the bread by national house of chiefs national house of chiefs hwe mo no mo avete am say there be agitum enyi san say abantie ya osa modua on go through the processes man be your henanti what say you gazette say Sampa man into be kai as abre no somewhere 2024 national house of chiefs rejected Samudia CD forms and that is the dynamics and you can say there be edumra say the Supreme Court dey 150 years ni nyina ye de anigye ene kabomu also as we give a baby bia be boko no ma yetimi atumpon afa ntuma pefra dia na say Supreme Court ye na afam die na nam so ye ma afam die de aboa e bibia ye boko ene kwan say so ho no mo a ye nhwe say emra no say de emra no sitie no ye bedi mra no yi de emra no ka bia fa bibia ho no ye nya say bia tumi bia ye nya bia tumi bia obi enya ntino bebu mra no nimtia isanse basa na 150 years ayedi na ekwa akwa hadwe enti we dey many agipasa in the presence of the chief justice ene a court ajeje mpanyimfo ene mranyufo mpanyimfo nyina no sabi yiru to biribi kro bia asante kotokwane abomwase ade sanse to twa say o mu hwe sa na emane yi danse na no bebre o ko regional house of chiefs bebra bebre na e abuse your powers and onim one thing is say regional house of chiefs and after traditional areas yeah o kabom ya regional house of chiefs no nanom nyina ye at par ahemfo nyina ye pe ohene bia amuru obi so omu nyina ye paramount chiefs ena ewo the various regional house of chiefs but eyemra mu aban dwumadi ye abenti ena ye to abase ye nyi baako but the moment I beto abase ye yi baako no abede ano say president of the said regional house of chiefs no eno elevate wa ya to abama no say wa be wababuro aman na no mo house of chiefs na so there be nanom nyina ye pe dem we emra na ya to aba edetumi ahye won sase dai ano mfie nan if you do this and to about my sa to me a few sir. It is sanity. However, that is not what we are saying. And to be kaya, now we are in a conswatter. Yes, what time for press conference can't say what catcher say. Almost for house how almost for Musa say. Almost in a strike 2021 at some next channel. After acting president and all church, when I know now carbon church chieftaincy declaration forms no I am for Nkrata. It was a freeze until we in Swatra. In Swatra Traditional Council, who in Swatra, it was Union West Medicine. It was a few command time one Swatra. Mantam Ben in Swatra. In this case, the Bono Region one in Swatra. And no, I beg Mantam no Bono Region. I know a cool ya buying at the Merton team, which is the Bono Regional House of Chiefs. I know the one Krata chieftaincy declaration forms according to Swatra and for. Now, the House of Chiefs, they said they are being into. I didn't know when you say, oh, if you want more him for me, no harm. Ever, there's no substantial evidence to back that claim. And the end into. After the 1 year, Yakran say, I am for no account who be a mature at Sankuana account be a woman or therefore hen and farm for Tosumian, so I tell mine. A chieftaincy declaration forms acquire. Yeah, I am for now, I can sub chiefs, divisional chiefs in the atom. Name or mine at the end of the year, yes, and into. Meanwhile, the Bono Regional House of Chiefs, and this out to me, and said, yeah, you request that to say the Bono Regional House of Chiefs, moved and say, when the Nkrata, traditional area and the Nkrata bar, said they say bar, now acting president in Sasha, what the answer obey that the Abba National. Dear Canon, National Assembly, the research committee of the National House of Chiefs, but to the boss, why you will be a separate answer obey to. But it's as though, I mean, for reasons best known to people are abusing that power. And it's hard time. I was in penny for sure. That's how name when you go up from ye. They boa mass in Juba. It's say, ya and the section, which was a beer to war. Obia could do business of chief president. Obey not been said, any yaman to me till your pen obey. Not even fighting on one interest, which might be contrary to the rules of and answer the laws of the land. Which shouldn't be the case. So the men can't encourage. You go to in Swat sign from some according to ya. If I almost how almost so firm who can clear be where educated that. Didn't take a clear be bra. How almost firm. So mine is so we almost in grant and aqua. House of Chiefs here into. But meanwhile, at the same time, and now one car or my him for a can one don't catch a call. I don't know the atom. After you do a beer, House of Chiefs is going to be fair. I won't be so. Won't you say according to one someone, I must one car, one acre, Mr. Mika. It me fair, one can be so. When you do now, young fast, soon as you are so bentimum and Katana and court National House of Chiefs. And I say, when 2 women young far, if a frogby, a woman in see a kunasu. Since what's saying. Which on a normal day, any concept was a dear, a man had been body, you could hear carrying right about your career better was. Now, yet you are some more as when you crimes.
Samu Busa say a court Supreme Court no near by near Akusia. Na ni tia watwa mu nyina ne se regional house na another ma hene da no won ba sitting nanso o man fa na or therefore hina mfranfo so ya ma hene o man fa CD form no anko National House for gazetting na another ma hene emfiti ase no ya nema bi wo ya hensem no ho a e man hwiatre nyina ne hemfo aye wo nyina taage ne se take his side. Nti enya no wa de oye acting president na sa abre no o sign na nanom ye no ye de sa na mra no se enam se na o man hene de enya ma ye nti no na wo se acting president na sign ye de nti acting president na sign ye de ono aso na be sign man hene de no ma ye de akọ nti sa na te
na ebe omo je nanom nya de atum na omo anyi man hene de atum omuchire mu die nti a ebia man hene de omo anyi atum.
Yeah, koko search.
Okay.
Na search ayekọ no kire say wo mo say simple aye was one say there are 2 chiefs. Like I said do man hene no say ye wo hemfo mienu. Sa bre do man hene president drobo man hene na ye vice. Nti o hwe a ensusu ye ba ye no say 2 chiefs ahemfo mienu na wo kuro no. Nanso mo aso na mo kire say the CD form beba mo ho e na fa ne ko e na enya o na osi hine mansu yatre ɛna nsuatwerɛ form representing himfo mmienu fa ma wo ɛna ɔhene bi aso CD form ɛni hɔ ɔhene foforɔ bi CD form ni hɔ ɛka ɔdɛfo ɔhene amfamfo nti sɛ ɔka saa asɛm wɔ kyerɛ ya na ɔpɛ sɛ ɔkyerɛ sɛn ɛno na ɛyɛ mandamus no ɛde sɛn ɛne na nam so ma yɛkɔyɛɛ saa mandamus ayi no against regional house nti ɔhema no koraa de ɔyɛ interested party nti so owu a ɔno ne case yawu what has yes nti de ɛyɛ a ɛba yɛ no sɛ two chiefs no sɛ ɛba bi ebusa sɛ ɔmɛkyerɛ nimfo na ɛwɔ hɔ yɛ two chiefs no
Ɔtumi akyerɛ mu deɛ nti ɔka
ɔmo kyerɛ sɛ no na ɔhwɛ a yɛde wɔ court yi a ɛyɛ sɛbi mpanimfo a yɛdi asɛm yi no ɛhwɛ mu sɛ mmara biara ni saa asɛm no ho nti yɛnkɔ gazette nana that is the appeals court no sɛ what has yes
right abusua enti ɛno yɛ nsɛm a nanom ɛwɔ nso akyerɛ de to dwa ɛwɔ ɔmo go through the same problem na ɛnyɛ sɛ bi asa na mmara sitie and the regional house of chiefs where needs out to me no according to the law the Chieftaincy Act but here we are ɔmo to say anamɔ enti as a matter of urgency yɛbɛsrɛ mpanyinfoɔ sɛ animuanim yi awomrɛm na ɔmo hwɛ sɛ saa nneɛma no ɛto betumi atwa timi da yɛwura sɛ ɔne nyankwadaa sɛ ɔka asase no kyerɛ chief justice no ɔmo wɔ nya sɛ mmara deɛ kɛne contract staffs ɛna ɛkɔ so ɛwɔ the various regional house of chiefs which on a normal day any kwan sɛ basa which on a normal day any kwan kora sɛ ɛkɔ so saa mo deɛ ɛne sɛ krata ne ba mo nye na mo mfa mmra but regional house of chiefs mi ka sɛ krata ne yɛmfa nkɔ ɛma court koraa ɛbɛkasa so mahyɛ mo ma na aduonu ba 21 days mo mfa nkɔ still na 21 days na court wahyɛ no ɛtumi twam ne yɛmfa nkɔ and yɛtete ho saa and ne a nyame adom Supreme Court ɛgya 150 years yɛbɛsrɛ the Chief Justice of the land afei the justices of the appeals court the justices of the high court district court circuit court bibia court bia bi ɛwɔ yɛ man Ghana sɛ yɛbɛsrɛ sɛ ɔmo no mmoayɛ na mmara no ɛnyɛ adwuma ɔmo no mmoayɛ mmara no nyɛ adwuma yie sɛdeɛ ɛsɛ na fata ɛfa nanom deɛ no na bibia yɛ ɔyɛ te ase ɛna regional house of chiefs elections injunction da so but election kɔ so in the somewhere 2024 saa abɛ aban a ɔte akonnwa so chief justice ana ɔwɔ hɔ saa abɛ no chieftaincy minister ana ɔwɔ saa abɛ no obi a abɔ ho wa aba na injunction da so but the man here and say regional house of chiefs no ɛwɔ baabi a menka baabi baako regional house of chiefs bi ɛwɔ baabi a no ɛyɛ mmara ɛna am yɛ tintim enti ekuo anaasɛ body organization a statutory body ya mmara na am yɛ tintim wɔ hɔ no ɛba ne sɛ na ade a mmara bɛka no ebu mmara nimtia ɛde yɛ ade etu anamo because nka ade mmara na ama ekuo na ba saa ade anka ade bi efa mmara obi ade ne die ne bu ma no however yɛte ase regional house of chiefs election injunction da so easy for kwase there be injunction was nti ma yɛ nto aba but still yɛtɔ kɔ so kɔto aba and bibia nsi ebesi na yɛte ahwɛ nsi yɛte sampa injunction ɛda so sɛ somebody ase wɔ kɔyɛ yɛ di ama ɔman hena a wayɛ nyame dia ɛlubu sɛ somebody ase locus saa brɛ na ɔde kɔyɛ yɛ ne sɛ ya ontimi nka nkyerɛ sɛ ɔyɛ ɔman hena wɔ mmerɛ mu because he has not been gazetted ontimi nka nkyerɛ sɛ ɔyɛ ɔman hena wɔ mmerɛ mu because nsuan mfa nkyerɛ obia ɛna nsuan kyerɛ ne man but ɔtena adwam sɛ ɔbɛyɛ yɛ injunction bɛda so ɛnso complete neglect for the rule of law ɛyɛ yie no na no akɛseɛ nyinaa akɔta akyire ma yie ne kɔ so aban mu mpanyinfoɔ ya wɔn no ɛyɛ mmerɛ kun ne yɛde bu man constitution ɛna ɛma yɛnya kabima menka bi amamɔ bi eto abanya mampani ɛma aban ne pound mpanyinfoɔ wɔn na ebu mmara ne ntia mmara na wɔn tumi ama wɔn nti aban wɔ hɔ no wɔn yɛ ministers ne adeɛ no wɔn bu mmara ne ntia ɛkɔ yie ase kyesɛ tinsɛm ne bebree na akɔ so tinsɛ chief justice wadaro ma papa ɛna sɛ Supreme Court di 150 years a yɛbɛsrɛ sɛ ɛnɛma bi sɛ mmara no ayɛ ma fam di ayi nyinaa but yɛntwe yɛn nhwɛ yɛ ahensɛm especially the various regional house of chiefs no ano bebree ebu mmara ne ntia ɛne die ne ambrase kwan so ya wɔ sɛ mo hwem na mo boa me bia ya so because sɛ ɔhani so ayi wie de kyerɛ ne kuro bi na mo de ne krataa no ɛkɔ the regional house of chiefs a regional house of chiefs no deɛ sɛ deɛ yɛwura kan mmara sa na mmara no so kan ɔno deɛ nso ɔde bɛba national commerce ya ɔde ba national wo mo hwem na bibia yɛ okay na agye atom no de dia konkratem na ya enter into the national register of chiefs ɛne ɛsɛ wɔ ya gazette no nti no ɛsɛ de yie tu yie yɛ de ne die ne buo ma mmara sɛ de sɛ ne fatɛrɛ boy na bibia yɛ aso dwe busu ameda ase sɛ ɔgye brɛ na ɔhwɛ mu nim sɛ nyame adom a ɔhene akasa yi na chief justice na ɔhɔ ɔmate bi mmara no wɔ hɔ dada nti wɔmbɛhyɛ mmara no mu kena na biribi ayɛ asomdwie na biribi atumi atumpɔn na nneɛma ayɛ frɔmfrɔm paa sɛdeɛ sɛ na ɛfata nti abusua mede ase sɛ ɔgye brɛ na wohwɛ mu yɛkɔ yi kae sɛ yɛtɔn fie wɔ Atwemayabe ɛyɛ 4 bedroom house baako yɛ master bedroom ɛna afei no aka no ɛyɛ single room self contained sɛ wohwɛ mu na wonya dan anaasɛ wonya fie wɔ Kumase titiri pan Atwemayabe ofiri sofo line ɛkɔ no 10 minutes drive na pa fɔm namba no from sisia na wɔn kasa na biribi